This is how I went from training for an Olympic distance triathlon to being flat on my back in a hospital bed, barely able to move. This is how I broke my back. Before this whole journey started, I was like a lot of people. I played a lot of video games, watched Netflix, and did almost no real exercise. I wasn't unhealthy, but I definitely wasn't fit. Then, around Christmas, 6 months ago, a few of my mates decided to sign up for the London Olympic Triathlon. I knew instantly that I had to join them, not just for the challenge, but to increase my overall health and fitness. So I trained hard, swimming before work, long weekend rides, learning to run without wrecking my knees. I watched my fitness transform week by week. My VO2 max was up, my resting heart rate was down. I was feeling really, really good. It did feel amazing being able to do the exercise that I've never been able to do before. I was stronger, sharper than I had been in years. At first, I also reduced alcohol, but then pretty much cut it out entirely, apart from the odd special occasion. But even no drinking was just made me feel so amazing. Made a huge difference to how I felt every day. Then came that ride that changed everything, for the time being anyway. Just a casual Thursday, I wasn't working that day, so I went out on a morning ride around kind of 8:30 set off. I was making good pace, I was aiming for some higher wattages, but cycling really nicely, which was really good. I was going about 40 kilometers an hour or so, and then I hit a pothole, which wasn't great. I went straight over the handlebars and landed pretty heavily right on my head. All I remember feeling and hearing, I heard a bit of a crack, and I felt a big old pain in my neck and also in my lower back as well. I landed in a field just to the left of the road. Luckily, it was a bit of a muddy field. I think that probably helped me a little bit. My bike somersaulted into the field. I'll show you some of the damage that occurred at the end as well. My watch then called the emergency services, and probably an interesting phone call for them because I was in quite a lot of pain at the time, but I managed to talk to them and they organised an ambulance to come for me. A couple of guys managed to stop at the side of the road. It was a nurse and a mechanic from a nearby garage. They were really, really helpful and helped kind of keep me nice and calm and things, but then I basically just laid still. It took almost an hour and a half for the ambulance to get to us, by which time it was getting quite warm, so the nurse has actually held up a big old blanket to cover over my head. I had my helmet still on, didn't take that off or anything like that, but then the paramedics arrived, popped me on a stretcher and took me on my way to hospital as well. When the ambulance got there, I did get a bit of pain relief, some inhaler type thing, which really did help, kind of eased a lot of the pain, made me a little bit more chatty as well, which was good. The journey in the ambulance itself was quite a while. It was probably about 45 minutes or so. I was in quite a lot of pain as well during that. So they popped in a cannula and things. I think I had some paracetamol in the ambulance. Helped, I'm sure. And then went on my way to the emergency department. So I spent 3 days in hospital. The first day, they took a CT scan of basically from my lower chest all the way to my top of my spine, basically. And they found on my T10 and T11 there was a couple of little breaks. So my T10 had a little fracture in the transverse process, so the little wing to the side got broken off. Not going to get that back, but apparently body should just be able to sort itself out. The T11 had a fracture across it, and that's the one that they were more worried about, just because that one, if it moves, that's where you start getting nerve pain, nerve damage basically. Luckily, it was a bit of a stable fracture, so it hadn't shifted at all. So my spinal cord was still nice and not damaged. There wasn't any shifting, which was great. But they were worried that if I were to do any more movement or anything like that, it could shift, and then I could be left having some nerve damage, which could affect my walking and things like that as well. So they were conscious about that. So they wanted to get another imaging MRI. So I had to wait the next day to get an MRI. And again, they did the same full body MRI. Take about 40 minutes or so to get that one done. All I remember in the MRI machine is everything just getting very, very hot, and it was also quite loud as well. So that's the experience of MRI machine. It basically vibrates and shifts about all of your hydrogen and water and things like that in your body, so it heats you up a little bit. So I slept in the hospital with a neck brace on the first night, just before they managed to get the MRI results, just because they were a little bit worried. But once they had the MRI results, it ruled out any further neck fractures or anything like that. So then I could have the neck brace off and things, which was great. Those things are not comfortable, and sitting in bed just trying to stay still is also not the most fun. On the third day, I was okayed by the doctors to go home, but they did want me to see a physio. So the physio fitted a chest brace for me. That's mostly for comfort, but also just to reduce me from twisting and leaning my back over, just so they don't want that brake to shift at all or anything like that. So we'll keep an eye on that. I haven't had to wear it too much, just every now and then. And first few days I did, but not anymore, which is good. Now, I'm just sat at home, really. No exercise, just taking it nice and slow. I've been booked in for a physio on Wednesday next week, and also to see a doctor spine specialist on Monday, just to have a look and go through, see what I can do and how long the recovery is going to be exactly. Doesn't look like it's going to be a fast road to recovery. They say about 8 to 12 weeks or so. So once I've done that, then I should be back to full strength and things, getting back on the bicycle and everything, hopefully before then, but we'll see. Unfortunately, the triathlon this year is going to be out because of the back injury. Pretty bummed about that. I was training for 6 months or so for it, from a kind of zero fitness, and I was really seeing that improvement. So I'm really hoping that I'm not going to lose a lot of that fitness over the next probably couple of months or so, where I can't really train or do anything properly. But then once I'm back to fitness, probably more in the winter months, we're probably going to do my own Olympic triathlon again, whether I can get into an event or not, or whether I just do it on a weekend, something like that. We'll see, just because I want to do the distance. And then next year I want to come back fighting even stronger. My ultimate aim is to do an Ironman next year. Definitely going to do a 70.3. But we'll see how that goes to determine whether or not I can do the full Ironman by the end of the year. But that's the plan, and see how the recovery goes as well. But definitely the 70.3. The bike, remarkably, no real damage. A little bit of some scuffs on the handlebar. Also, the seat's got a couple of little scuffs. I think because it went into a field that was a bit muddy, that helped absorb some of it and made sure it didn't hit anything too hard and didn't break any wheels, anything like that. A couple of little scratches on the wheels, and a little bit on some of the neck at the back, but doesn't look like there's anything bent or any chips from the carbon or anything like that, which is I'm very pleased about. So I should be able to get back on that as soon as I am fit and healthy again, which is really, really good. The bike computer did take a fairly big beating. I think that's where the crash happened onto. I think that's where the bike was hit most. So we'll be needing a new bike computer, which is pretty sad. I liked this one. So just a little message to people who are doing this type of training. If you're pushing yourself for a race or a goal, or just to get better, remember the road isn't always smooth. Sometimes it breaks you, but it can also teach you how to rebuild. So I want people to follow along, see how my recovery goes, and also going to be doing some fun adventures along the way as well, and see how I'm getting back to the swimming, the running, and everything as well. Thank you very much for watching.